12:30 at the farm in Wisner, Nebraska. I'd like to thank Taylor Fort for coming to do a live stream of them. We're going to talk them briefly, get a video of them so you guys can see them. We will have online bidding through Show Pig Live with Kennedy Adventures. We'll start running pigs in here. And I have a good friend, Hunter Schroeder with Schroeder Genetics, going to help talk them. We'll try to describe them how we see them, and we'll go from there. Thanks. Yep. All right, we got lots 1 and 2 in here. They are Skull and Bones, never before gone virals. 14-3 will be lot 1. That's the one that's kind of on the whip there. And then the other one is 14-10. He'll be lot 2. That's the one in the center of the ring. Really, this is the sow's second litter. Very, very deep set on this litter. I think their proportions are right. Their skull, round ribbed.
Yeah, and you start to look at that 14-3 barrel, one that I think that you can really push and feed on that one pretty hard if you want to in terms of his skeleton, really big boned and big forearmed. And then you got the other barrel, the 10 barrel. I think he's really good in his skull like we talked about, and that one's a little bit more muscular in his kind, one that you might have to hold back a little bit, but certainly going to be a good feeding type of barrel.
Alrighty. We have tags 3 and 4. They're the same breeding. I'm on it. Never before gone virals. Lot 2 is 14-6, and lot 4 is 14-4.
Yeah, lot 3 on 14-4. This one is extremely opened up in his chest floor, really big in his forearm, and he's going to have plenty of back shape when we get down into it, really square gumming and going. I think you're going to like that one a lot when he comes to his end point. There we go. Now you can see him. There we go. This 14-6 barrel, a lot like the other barrels that we talked about. I think this one's a little bit greener in his kind. He's going to be a little bit, comparatively to his mate, he doesn't have as much expression today. But if you like to feed one and mess around with the feed bucket, I think you're going to appreciate this one a great deal long term. He's really extended up front, and he's really good in his skeleton, much like this whole litter is.
So next in, we have tag 5, 14-9. She's a gilt. I'm on it. Never before gone viral.
Yeah, this 14-9 gilt is one that I found really early here as we were sorting through them here before we got started. I think this one's extremely good in her type and kind. I think she can be a market gilt or a breeding gilt with her line. She's really big boned, just got good feet and legs, and just has that extra look about her, extended ahead of her blade. I think that one's going to be really, really good when it comes down to it.
So we just started pin 2. They're the same breeding. I'm on it. Never before gone viral. We have tag 6, 14-2 barrel. And then we have tag 7, 14-8 barrel.
Oh, the solid black barrel that's in the center of the ring there. I think you really like that one for being soft and pliable. He's really deep and through his center body. You're not going to have to feed that one in terms of getting his rib opened up and getting that depth of body. You can just focus on making that one a big back show barrel and getting him where he needs to be. Then our other hand barrel that we get in the ring here now on the end of the stick. I think that one is one that you might have to mess with a little bit in terms of getting some extra forerib in that one. But I wouldn't be scared of him. He's got his extra power. He's got his dimension. That whole litter, like we talked about, is big boned. And you have the pieces to work with, so don't be afraid to feed that one. I think he's going to go a long ways.
All right, next up we got tag 8, 14-7 gilt, and we have tag 9, 14-5 gilt. I'm on it. Never before gone viral.
Solid black gilt is on the end of the whip right there. I think that one is one that you can take as a breeding gilt or a market gilt, honestly. She's extremely long in her kind. She's extended ahead of the blade. She blends everything smooth the way she needs to, and yet she's opened up enough on both ends of her skeleton to be a market hog if that's the way you want her to be. Honestly, I think she can go either way. Hamp that we got on the end of there. This one's a little bit denser in her skeleton. She's shorter backed, bigger hipped, and one that honestly, if you need to take her home, I think you need to take this one and dial her down just a nickel in terms of her feeding program to get her where she needs to be. It's going to be a more moderate type of a hog, but one that's going to have all the shape and dimension you need at the end of the day.
We need to back up. The black one was tag 10, 14-1. And then the other gilt, the Hamp gilt, was tag 8, 14-7. Tag 9. I'm on it. Never before gone viral.
Much like the littermate sister that we just talked about, I think this one's going to have plenty of mass and dimension. She's a shorter-backed one like we talked about. Huge hip in this one. Like we said, we just need to dial her back in terms of her feeding program when we'll get her home. But you're never going to have any problems with extra mass and shape in this one. And I think that if that's what you're after and that's your kind of feed, this is a gilt you need to tie into.
Yeah, definitely one that needs to be slowed down as soon as you take her home. And then everything will come back together. Just let everything catch back up. All right. All right, we're going to start pin 3 here, which will be Skull and Bones, Never Before Gone Viral. We have lots 11 and lots 12. 13-6 gilt is 11. 12 is 13-7 barrel.
The gilt on the stick right now, I think that one is really easy to see that she's extremely flexible in her skeleton. She's really neat and extended ahead of her blade. And if you study her in her skull, she's got a never-before head on her. I think that skull is going to come. And then you study her, with that genetic line, I wouldn't be afraid feeding that one. I think that one hits me personally as a breeding gilt, but maybe she'll hit you as a mark gilt. I just think that one's got all the pieces she needs to be a really good breeding gilt at the end of the day. The barrel that's coming, I think this one, his best days are certainly ahead of him. I think this one, in terms of where he puts his feet down to the surface, is extremely good. And you start to look at that one in terms of his forerib and how he's the curvature and the robustness to the center portion of his body. I think you really like that one. He goes away from you square, and I think he's got plenty of look and dimension as well. I think that one's going to be a really good barrel at the end of the day.
Pin 3 yet. Skull and Bones, Never Before Gone Viral. We have tag 13, 13-4 gilt, and tag 14, 13-1 gilt.
The gilt on the stick right now has that little bit of white on her. I've never been afraid of a black one personally, but some people like to have that extra white. I think both these gilts, really green in their kind, are certainly going to need to be fed on. I think they can be fed on as hard as you want them to. I think their skeleton's laying them well. They're opened up in their chest floors, and they got a good center portion of their body. They just need to be fed on. I think they really come together once you feed on these two hogs.
This is still pin 3, Skull and Bones, Never Before Gone Viral. He is a crinkled ear, dash 12.
Yeah, crinkled ear barrel gets in there. I think he don't let the crinkled ear scare you there. I think there was still a lot of quality in that barrel. He's really big in his forearm, like we've talked about on these. I think he's really good in how he puts his foot down to the surface, and he's still good in his frame size. I read this barrel to be a more moderate barrel. I think he's not gonna finish at as heavy a weight, so just keep that in mind there. But I think it's still a really high quality barrel.
The thing about the crinkled ear, at least he pins it straight back. He doesn't hang it down. I don't think it bothers him in the show ring. All right, we moved to pin 4 here. Skull and Bones, Never Before. We got tag 16, which is 13-9 gilt, and we got tag 17, which is 13-11 gilt.
13-9 gilt here on the end of the whip, white-legged one, 3 white legs and a solid black leg. I think that she's noticeable when you get into the ring. I think like a lot of these last couple pigs, they're just green in their kind. As you see her walk across there, I think it's very clear that she's good in her skeleton. She's flexible in the way she moves. She's going to have that extra look when it comes down to it. We just need to get that one on a feed bucket. I think you're going to enjoy your summer. The little hamp that's on the end of the whip right now, same story. I think this one's a little bit more moderate in her kind. I don't think she gets as big as the other gilt in the ring with her. Maybe doesn't get as quite as stout as the other ones, but I think just in terms of a solid breeding gilt that has all the pieces that you want to maybe make a sow down the road, I think that one can get the job done.
Okay, we move. We're still in pin 4, Skull and Bones, Never Before. We're on tag 18, 13-10 gilt.
13-10 gilt. Same story here on these. They're very identical in the way they're put together. Just really green in her kind, but it's got a lot of quality there. I read this one to, you're maybe going to have to hit this one a little harder with the feed bucket to really develop that forerib and open her up a little bit more. But just in terms of having all the pieces that put together a good show pig at the end of the day, she's got it. And you can do the rest with the feed bucket. I think this is a hog that you can tie into really easily in that regard.
All right, still on pin 4. Skull and Bones, Never Before, gone viral. We're going to have tag 19, 13-5 barrel, and tag 20, 13-13 barrel.
The barrel on the end of the whip there, 13, whatever he is there, the Hamp barrel. Really big legs on this one. I think that one's extremely stout featured, big-footed. He plants hard down to the surface. And you read him in terms of his skull, that one's just going to be a barrel. I mean, that one is going to be a man-child at the end of the day, I think, in terms of how he puts everything together. He's got plenty of shape up high. If you just read him, he's a little bit green and maybe his hip structure as he comes into his muscle there. But I think if you truly read the pieces on that guy, I think you really like him. The bigger, wider belted barrel here, if he gets on us. There we go. This one's a little bit more, that is a little bit more ready today. This guy's going to be a larger frame guy, and in my opinion, I think he's going to be a good heavyweight barrel. He's just going to have all the pieces that you need to be a big heavyweight. His frame just reads like he's going to be a 285-pound hog, but a solid 285-pound hog with no major holes in him.
All right, we moved to pin 5. Play It Cool, Prototype Visionary, gone viral. Tag 21, 7-8, Boar Pig. 22 is 7-5, Gilt.
The Gilt that hits the end of the ring right there, I think that one just, she reads it as hits as a big-time sow. I mean, that one in terms of belly and forerib, I mean, she's got just a sow belly in her. You're never going to have to work hard to get her into that category, one that you could really mass up and probably be really big time in terms of breeding gilt. If you want to make her a market, you just got to suck her gut up a little bit and then put some power in her on top. But I think she reads as a breeding gilt. The Boar Pig is one that I've seen a couple times now, and I think he's really, really intriguing. He's got so many good pieces in him. His skull is right. He's really big in his forearm, and he's huge-footed as he hits the surface, and yet he's extended ahead of his blade. And when you get on top of that hog, I think there's going to be plenty of shape and dimension. He comes back. He's really square in his hip, and that one's just a big-legged one. I think there's just a lot of boar quality in that one. If he was mine, I'd be keeping the nuts in him as well, so I think that's a really good one.
Pin 5, Play It Cool, Prototype Visionary, gone viral. We have tag 23, 7-9 Gilt, and we have tag 24, 7-1 Gilt.
7-9 Gilt that's on the end of the whip there. I think that one offers a lot of intriguing pieces. I think that one's really cool about her, the way she ties her neck into the top side of her blade. She's really square and opened up and robust in that forerib. I think she's got a good sweep to that lower rib cage and just is functional on the move. And honestly, I think you can make that one into a really powerhouse market gilt. Or if you want to get into the breeding shows at the end of the day, I think that one has a lot of pieces to make it happen as well. 7 dash, what do we got? 1 on the other gilt in here with her. I think this one, it hits you initially as the more breeding piece in there in terms of having some extras in terms of her extra forerib and her body. Her bone is good. I think this one surprises you when you get behind her. She's actually huge hipped. She blends it together so well from the side that you don't expect that one to have that much power going away, but certainly has a lot of dimension and power going away.
So we moved to pin 6. Play it cool. Prototype visionary gone viral. Tag 25 is 7-3 gilt, and tag 26 is 7-10 barrel.
7-3 Gilt here. One, if you're into breeding pieces and you hear that one's pedigree, you should be excited right away. And then you look at her phenotypically, and I think she excites you even more. She's got that black leg that's intriguing. And then from there, she's just got all these pieces that you really like to see put together. She's really extended ahead of her blade. She blends that into the top side of her blade extremely well. I think that one just got a good functional back leg in her at the end of the day. Just take that one nice and slow, put her on a 16 or so, and just make that one let her do all the work for you. I think that one's just going to be easy feeding. The solid black, the black-headed barrel, I think this one's going to be really, it's going to be what you make him. I think you feed this one and just take him slow and let him kind of develop into a man-child, if you will. He's got the bone and the forerib and the extra forearm to make it happen. He's really stout in his skull. I think that one's a short-backed one that I think that one can play at the end of the day.
Good. Okay, we're in pin 6. Play it cool, prototype, visionary, gone viral. We got tag 27, which is 7-4. We have tag 28, 7-2.
Kind of the spotted up or splashed up barrel here, 7-4. I think that one's just an easy feeding type of a barrel. Much like a couple of the other barrels we've talked about, you're not going to have to work to get any extra body and rib shape in that one. You can just focus on making that one stout up high and making that one putting it back in that one because the skeleton's going to be able to handle it. But it's nice to not have to worry about the rib on top of that. The black-headed barrel here, if he would start going for us. Tree trunk legs on this guy. He's actually, I mean, those are huge legs. Might be the biggest bone one we've seen this far, and that's saying something for what we've seen. But I think this one, if you get past his black head with where his stripe comes, I think you analyze this one. I think that one is plenty good, and he's going to be short-backed and just an easy feeding type of a good county fair barrel. If I was trying to take one, I think that one is going to have plenty of muscle to compete down there at those county fair levels for sure.
Pin 6, play it cool, prototype, visionary, gone viral. Tag 29, 7-6 barrel.
There he goes. The -6 barrel, I think, honestly, once you get past his ear set a little bit, he's got a little bit bigger ear set in him. But after that, you start to look at the quality that barrel has to offer. He's a lot like his litter mates. He's the greenest one that we've seen, I think, by far of that litter. One that I think you just take a feed bucket to, and I think he gets a lot better in terms of his muscle shape up high. Just don't be afraid to feed on this one. I think that one gets going in a hurry.
We moved to pin 7. We moved to pin 7, which is family traditions. Hold My Beer 71, gone virals. We have tag 30, which is 6-5 Gilt, and tag 31, which is 6-3 Gilt.
6-5 Gilt that's on the end of the whip. I think this one's extremely high quality. I think you really like that one in terms of just how neat and extended she is ahead of her blade there. Just really feminine about everything about her. I think this one could be a really good breeding gilt, and if you put her on some feed and make her mark gilt, she's got the chest width to make that happen as well. -3 Gilt is one that we found right away in the barn when we were looking through. I think if you're a breeder, I think you're really intrigued about this one because this is going to be a big gal, and I think you can run this one into a 300+ pound weight class there at the end of at a state fair or something to make a really good breeding gilt because I think she keeps her front end together. She's got so many neat pieces and she's so flexible when she gets out and goes. I think you really like that one as a breeding gilt long term.
We're in pin 7, family traditions. Hold My Beer 71, gone viral. Tag 32, 6-4 barrel.
6-4 barrel. I think this is as good a barrel as we've seen so far today. And if you don't be scared of reading into this one. He's a little greener, so don't miss this guy because this guy is extremely flexible. He puts everything in the right spot. He's really good in his skull. He's really good in his lines. He's good and he's flexible down. His feet plant square and true where they're supposed to. I think that one just has a lot of good about him. Just don't misread him just because he's a little green yet today.
Okay, we're in pen 7 yet. Tag 33, 5-2 Gilt is a Just Be Nice. Pandemic Gone Viral. That's the Calico one. The other one is a Quitting Time, Make It Easy. Tag 34, 3-4 Gilt.
Calico Gilt, if you're one that likes some color, I think you find this one intriguing. She's really tall at the point of her shoulder. I think she's got a good front end, and from there, you feed that one into a forerib and get some extra curvature there. I think you're really going to like that one playing at the end of the day. You're going to get noticed right away. The blue gilt that hits it, to me, this one hits breeding gilt all day long. I think she's just so good in her skeleton. She can move and walk like a cat all day. I think that one's going to be extremely good when we get her into on a feed bucket and get some top shape into that one. I just think that one hits a breeding gilt show, and I think she can do a lot of damage there just because she puts so many good things together in her skeleton.
The gray one she is a litter mate to my chosen one, Gilt, that I took the chosen one, and we sold her for $8,000. We moved to pen 10. This one is the Family Traditions, Knockin' Boots Gone Viral. Tag 35, 11-5 barrel.
11-5 barrel here by himself. I think that one offers a lot of quality. He too is a little bit greener in his kind, but I think that one's extremely square in the muscle shape that he's going to put together. You study him coming right at you right there. I think he's really square and true in the way he sets his knee down to the ground and really opened up in his chest floor.
This one would be a full sib to the champion middleweight Gilt at the Nebraska State Fair last year. We're still in pen 10. Family Traditions, Knockin' Boots, Gone Viral. We have tag 36, which is 11-9 Gilt, and tag 37, 11-2. These are still full sibs to the champion middleweight Gilt at Nebraska State Fair for the Lovett family.
The black gilt on the whip right now. I think that one is extremely pliable in her skeleton. These are a little bit greener hogs, a little bit younger in their age probably, but still really, really high quality. I think this one hits me as more of a breeding kind at the moment. She's not quite as opened up in her chest floor as some of these other litter mates that we'll see, but I think that one, just in terms of putting the right pieces together from the side, I think offers a lot of good. The Gilt now right with the spot on her back. See, that one hits you. She's got a bigger hip. She's bolder and more opened up about her about up front. And you study that one from her forerib down into her forearm and down to the surface. I think that one just hits you as a market Gilt, one that is going to have plenty of power and dimension without sacrificing that extra look from the side.
Still in pin 10. We have an I'm On It times Nomad Visionary, which is tag 38 8-1 barrel. That one's mom raised a high selling barrel for me down at the Major League sale at Jay McCormick's. The barrel went on and won Houston class at Houston. This barrel's really, really green, but a good one. And then the other one is lot 39 10-5 Duroc barrel. He's a turntable.
The Duroc that's on the end of the whip right now, certainly the best purebred in the sale that we're going to see. One that I think is really good for being a red one. I've never been a red hog enthusiast, as many know, but I think when you study that one's skeleton and just how it reads for the Duroc breed, he's sound, and I think that one's obviously his best days are ahead of him. He's got the bone structure to make it happen. You just got to put a top in that one. I think you're going to have a lot of fun beating some Duroc barrels. Like we've said, this was one of the barrels that we came to and we found right away when we were sorting through. And this guy, like Jeff said, is extremely, extremely green in his kind. But just don't let that deter you from missing a really good hog because that one puts everything together where he needs to in terms of his skeleton. That one's still got, study that one's skull and study that one's foot and bone work. That one's going to get stout, and that's where you start to read those things. And he's going to get stout, and I wouldn't be afraid of feeding that one at all.
All right, we moved to pin 11, which is in-game knocking boots, best man. We have tag 40, 9-9 Gilt, and we have tag 41, 9-6 Gilt.
The 9-6 Gilt that's right there on the end of the whip. I think that one is extremely intriguing with the pieces that she has to offer. A lot of bone in that one. I think that one would be interesting to see how big she gets. I read her as a more moderate Gilt here today, but I think that one just covers all the basics that you need. You study her there. She's square at her knee. She's square in her chest floor like we need those hogs to be, and she's got that extra dimension up high. The Gilt that is on the end of the whip now, that one, like the barrel that we just talked about here in the last one, extremely, extremely greener kind. That one hits me as a breeding Gilt, and long term, you start to feed on that one. I think that one just bellies down, gets some extra mass and dimension to her, and just becomes and is flexible and has that extra length and body that we want to see in those females.
Pin 11, in-game knocking boots, best man. We have tag 42, 9-4 Gilt, and we have tag 43, 9-1 Gilt.
9-4 gilt that's right there. If you like a blue button, you like one that has some extra style and look, I think that this is one that you should probably tie into. She's certainly square out of her hip, and she's extended ahead of her blade, and you just study that one as she gets out and moves. She just is comfortable as she gets out here, and that's because her feet point in the right direction. That's where we need that one skeleton to be. The solid white gilt, not solid white, I guess she's got some blue on her head up there. Predominantly white gilt, if you will. That one too is really green, and I think that one is going to feed well. You study that one's curvature to her forerib, and she's still got plenty right now, and being green, when you have that curvature to your forerib being green, you're going to feed really well. That one gets out and moves plenty well. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with that one, messing with the feed bucket. So if you like to tinker with the feed bucket, I think that you can tie into that white gilt quite a bit.
We're in pin 11. In-game knocking boots best man. Tag 44, 9-8 barrel.
Blue butt barrel here in the ring. I think that one's just going to be a good, solid barrel at the end of the day with no major holes in him. He doesn't wow you in any one area necessarily, but I think that one just in terms of covering all the basics of being a good market hog. He's opened up underneath. He's got muscle up high. He's still flexible in his skeleton. I think you're going to tie into that one. I think you like him quite a bit. Solid county fair barrel there.
We move to pin 12. We have an in-game knocking boots best man, which is tag 45, 4-1 gilt. And then we have a family traditions, hold my beer 71, gone viral gilt, which is tag 46, 6-1 gilt.
The calico here that we're talking. I think this one, if we can't find this one, I don't know what we're looking at here. I think this one's extremely good in terms of her body shape and her rib shape, and that's really hard to put together from a breeding standpoint. You study that one back into her hip, and it's extremely square, and she's got plenty of power, and yet she gets out and utilizes her skeleton the way she should, and I think that says a lot about that gilt. She should be on a short list of gilts to get after if you're after a gilt there. The gilt that's in the corner there, that black one, Has a lot of quality, really extended ahead of her blade, and has a lot of look from the side. One that I think, comparatively in here, she, don't misread this Gilt just because of what she's in the ring with. I think this one is a really big hipped, really good Gilt in her own right. The one that's with her is just extremely good in so many areas. So don't misread this Gilt for what she is. That is still a very nice Gilt, just with a really nice one.
We're in pin 12. We have Family Tradition Knockin' Boots Gone Viral. Tag 47 11-7 barrel. And we have tag 48 11-8 barrel.
Which one? Okay, solid black barrel here. That one I think has a lot of good pieces. That one it got tree trunk legs on him, and that works up into a big forearm. I think you study that one for what he is. I think that one's going to be a really solid, good looking barrel at the end of the day. That's just going to get better every single day you put that one on feed. I don't think you're going to be disappointed with him. Just read that one skeleton. I think that you like where that one's going to head for you. The barrel that has the more predominantly white, or got some white on with a spot on his back, I think that's much the same story when you start to put that one on feed. This one's a little bit bolder and more extreme in his muscle kind. Right behind his blade, he's square in that shape, and he works that back into a bigger hip. I think he's going to be a shorter back type of a barrel, and that's what we're after. If you want a short backed one, I think you're going to want to tie into this barrel.
We move to pin 13 here. In-game Knockin' Boots Best Man. We have tag 49 4-6 barrel and tag 50 4-7 barrel.
The blue butt barrel on the end of the whip there, I think one is going to be a big barrel at the end of the day. In his finish weight, he's extremely long-bodied. He's really big in his frame. Puts his feet down where they need to be. I think you're going to take that one home, and you need to you can push on that one pretty hard and make that one a stout, kind of man-made, if you will, on that one. Just needs to really find his end weight. The calico barrel on the end is going to be a little bit more moderate type barrel, I think, but it's never going to get outpowered. He's big-hipped, and he's so stout, but he's good, and he's got the right muscle shape that it doesn't hinder his flexibility out of his hip and hind leg, if you will. I think that one still covers all the market basics that we're going to want to find in a good, solid county fair barrel.
Pin 13, in-game knocking boots, best man. We have tag 51, which is 4-8 barrel. That's the blue one. Tag 52, 4-4 barrel.
The blue butt barrel here in the ring, much like the blue butt we just brought in, I think this is going to be a big barrel at the end of his time there. One that if I'm going to take him home, I'm going to take him home. I'm going to feed him a little hotter. We can push this one hard. He's got the skeleton to be able to withhold some extra mass and dimension up high. Don't be afraid to push that one hard. I think he can handle it. If you like one that is extremely powerful and you like muscle and shape, then this Calico barrel is one that I think you need to tie into because he's probably the most extreme in his muscle pattern, is the biggest ditch-backed one that we've seen here today. And he's got so much muscle that he's almost immature in his muscle. He's got to let his skeleton catch back up to his muscle shape, but I think if you want one that just has pure muscle and stoutness, you need to tie into that barrel.
Still in pin 13, in-game knocking boots, best man. We have tag 53, 4-5 Gilt, and tag 54, 4-3 Gilt.
4-5 that's on the end of the whip there, a larger frame, larger outline Gilt, but I think she puts a lot of good together, especially from that hip forward. I think those are, she ties everything together there extremely well. Maybe need to just loosen her up right there in her handling junction, just a nickel, but with the feed bucket, I think that one ties together at the end of the day extremely well. Is going to finish as a higher end weight Gilt that has the extra bone and mass to compete with the boys. The -3 Gilt here that's finally wanting to cooperate a little. Her too, I think that one, if we get that one home, I think you just need to dial her down just a nickel in terms of her feeding program to keep her inside her skeleton. She's got plenty of mass. She's got plenty of muscle. I don't think that's ever going to be a problem. Just get that one a little softer and through the center portion of her body, and you're going to have a lot of fun with that hog. Into the July, September, or July, August county fairs, I think you're going to have a lot of fun with that one.
We move to the last pin, pin 14. Quitting time, make it easy. We have tag 55, which is 3-5 barrel, and we have tag 56, which is 3-2 barrel.
3-5 barrel that's starting to hit the end of the whip there. One that I think has just got plenty of stoutness and chest floor. Study that one in terms of his chest floor. He's really square, and he brings that knee down square and straight the way it should. And that one, just suck a little gut off him when you get him on feed and get him home. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with that barrel. He's going to be a big boy, and I think he can handle it. Just study his skeleton. I think that one is going to be extremely good coming the end of his time. The barrel that's out there with him is going to be a little bit more moderate in his kind. And you can easily see, I mean, look how big that one's hip is. He's extremely huge in his hip, and he's square in the way he follows, and he's got a good look about him. He's really dense, and through that center portion of his body, he's got a big old forearm in him. Barrel that, honestly, if you want to hold on one and just make him try to compete all summer or get down into the county fair season, I think you can make that happen. There's a lot of good in that barrel.
All right, we're still in pin 14. We have tag 57 is 3-3 barrel. We have tag 58, 3-1 gilt.
The 3-3 barrel here that we find. I think this one's a really easy one to misread when you study that his litter mates and how much power and dimension they have. He's the greenest one of this litter by far, but I think he's also one of the most correct in his skeleton. He's extremely pliable when he hits the surface. His feet do what they're supposed to. I think that one probably has the best feeding days ahead of him. Power that hog up. He's got all the look that you need. The gilt, if you like one that's square and you like one that has shape and it's still got some look, then I think you need to tie into this gilt. She's got things that she almost looks like a barrel in pieces, and I think that one's going to come together, and she's just going to have so much power and dimension, and she looks like she's going to keep her skeleton together, and she's not going to be any short of movement, and so I think those are all pluses on that gilt. A big gilt, so if you're looking for a big power hog, I think there she is.
Pin 14, quitting time, assault visionary, tag 59, 2-5 gilt.
2-5 gilt here. One that's really large and in her outline, is long-bodied, pliable in her skeleton. Honestly, I think this one could really hit the feed bucket and really get that extra depth of body and just kind of be a sow at the end of the day and be a big sow. If that you study that one ahead of her blade, there's a lot of extension. It blends in neat, and she ties that neck in high at the top side of her blade, and it ties into a really good forerib and rib cage. And I think that one just has a good feeding ahead of her. If you want to feed that one as a breeding gilt, I think you're going to have a lot of success with that one.